Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jocelyn. Hi, hello, welcome. If you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe so you guys can watch more videos like this. Today I finally have my January wrap up for you guys. We're already gonna be in the second week of February, but here I am finally giving you guys the books that I read for the month of January. So if you guys want to know what I read this past month, then keep on watching. So last month I had a few books in my TBR list. I, however, did not read all of them just because two books that I started off reading with were very hard for me to get into. Something that I guess I wasn't in the mood for those books. I didn't want to DNF them because I want to try to fully complete the books without having to DNF the books or leaving them there and just forgetting about them. So I pushed through, you guys. I read those books that I was like, what the heck did I just read? Basically had 7 books that I was gonna read in my January TBR list, which I don't know why I picked so many because girl, I could never. Of those 7, I only read 2 books from that list, and I added a random book that I really wanted to read. So I was just like, this is gonna replace all of the rest. But the first book that I read in January was Eleanor, Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. And I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars just because I expected more of it, to be honest. This is published in 2017, 2016, something around that time. And it was very popular during that time, and I never got to read it. Just I honestly wasn't into that genre. Very into romance. Anything that was not romance I wasn't really paying attention to. However, now that I'm older, I literally am expanding my genre reading. To be honest, I expect this to be a thriller. However, it's not. It's a psychological fiction book. I did enjoy reading this book. However, it was difficult for me to continue reading it at some point because Eleanor did get on my nerves. She has something. She is very bold. She's very blunt. She doesn't think before she speaks. She always thinks that she is the smart one, that she's always right. That's sometimes not the case, and she thinks she's surrounded by idiots. She is very out of tune when it comes to technology and modern stuff in the world. Kept complaining how people are idiots, and I'm like, girl, what? She was socially awkward, I guess you could say. Doesn't know very much how to communicate the proper way with people. I did think she was crazy at first, and I honestly believe that she killed her mom. The thing I do like about her is that you can see the growth from the very beginning of the book to when you get to the end of the book, just because she learns a lot about her past and things that she was scared to know and scared to let go of. So when she started therapy, she grows. I feel like she grows very quickly in the end. I really liked her character and the way she grew and developed. The second book that I read in January is called Everything I Never Told You by Celeste and G. This one was another difficult book for me to read, and it's very short. I think it only has 12 chapters. I just made a book review on it, so I'll have the link down in the description or somewhere over here, a card. But I found this book very difficult to read for many reasons. It's very confusing for me. I don't think it's confusing for a lot of people, but for me it is. I gave this book a 4 stars even though it was very confusing. It was an interesting read for me. It has to do with this girl named Lydia who dies. You're getting the whole point of view of the whole entire family, which is her parents and her 2 siblings. You go from the point where you find out that she dies to the past, but then also back to the present. This book does take place in the 1970s, even earlier, I believe, because you have the background story and the storyline of the parents when they were younger and why they are the way they are and why they grew up to become the adults that they are. I go more into detail and more spoilers in my book review, so if you guys want to check that out, definitely do. Honestly, for me, this book, the reason why I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, I think it's because it has to do a lot with death and grief. It shows you very well how when someone dies that's very important to you and very close to you, it changes the dynamic of your family. Things in life completely change and how they switch up real quick. Everyone grieves differently, and seeing the parents grieve and or what he chooses to do because his wife is not there to grieve with him or to help him, and he's trying to help the mom, his wife, but she doesn't really accept it. So it's interesting to see that part. If I wasn't that interesting, I would have given it a 3 or maybe even a 2 out of 5 stars, just because, yeah, the chapters were only 12 chapters, but the chapters were super long and confusing, just because I feel like it didn't have like a cut of where the thoughts changed. So it could be the mom speaking and she's telling a story that eventually leads to mentioning one of the children, or like the husband. The thought continues from then to that person, and then it leads like that. So definitely probably read it in one sitting, to be honest. Besides that, I thought it was such a really good story and I highly recommend it. The last book that I read for the month of January was actually the prequel to We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. The book is called Family of Liars. If I'm being honest, I actually was not planning to read this book at all. The reason why I read it was because I had it on hold for a while and it finally came through my library or my Libby. So I was like, I have to pause everything and read this book. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. I was expecting a lot more chaos, a lot more, I don't know, like suspense. I just expected way more from this book. Definitely have to read the other book first, I feel like, because although this is a prequel, there's a huge spoiler in the beginning that has to do with the first book. So definitely read the other book and then this one. This book has to do with Carrie's point of view, which is one of the daughters. She is the oldest, I believe, of the Sinclair family. Takes place back when they were little, living in that island with her sisters and her parents. And it kind of has the same dynamic as the first book, where a like family friends come over to visit, and you know they're hanging out, and in this point it's boys they came and a girl. It's the same aspect where they had to be perfect, they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that, they had to uphold the Sinclair name. Carrie is addicted to drugs and alcohol, and so it's kind of sad to see who she truly is, because you find out something about her that I guess leads to the reason why she stops caring and why she turns out the way she is. She's basically telling the story to her son of how she was when she was younger and the secrets that she was holding and all the bad stuff that they did there as well. I can't really explain this one just because I feel like you need to go in not knowing much about it. Being the same atmosphere as the first one, it just, I was expecting something already, so I wasn't really like, oh my god, in shock when it happened. I was just like, oh, okay, now what? You get me? I feel like it's literally the same book as the first one. It's just different characters. They just changed the names to like the parents' name. That's all the books that I read for the month of January. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!